Last time on Out Chasing Stars, we set sail from Bali up to the Indonesian side of Borneo. Along the way, we got to deal with all the pleasures of sailing in Indonesia. Variable winds, lots of fads, and erratic fishing boats. Our reward for surviving the gauntlet was a nice rain shower and arriving up the Kumai River, where we'd be leaving Starry Horizons for an epic adventure into the jungle. We are in Kumai, and what is our big adventure here in Kumai?
So here in Kalimantan, which is the Indonesian side of Borneo, they do orangutan tours and have wild orangutans here in the reserves. So we're gonna go on a boat tour.
Which is gonna be pretty freaking awesome. Yeah. But we've got to organize things, so we found a local agent, if you will, who's got a tour he's gonna put together. We do have to go find some cash though, so that is our first order of business. That's exciting. We'll hopefully make lots of locals saying hi. Just finding an ATM can be an adventure in itself, but once we had some more money, we finalized arrangements to leave early the next morning. And off we go! The speedboat played taxi and delivered us to our own private boat, called the Klotok, where we'd spend the next 2 nights in the national park. The boat came with a crew, a chef, and our guide, Danu.
There goes Starry Horizons. Bye, Starry Horizons! See you in 3 days, 2 days.
Still be there when we get back, please.
Yeah, that would be appreciated.
So this is Konya River. This is Kumai River. It's about 175.
175 kilometers?
Yeah.
Okay.
To come
And
to headwater.
What is this one again?
Konya.
Skoner.
Konya. Yeah.
Konya. Oh, and see the orangutan statues waiting?
The orangutan statue seemed like a very appropriate way to mark the entrance into the park, and Danu told us the name for the apes is formed from the words orang, meaning person, and hutan, meaning forest. So orangutan literally means person of the forest. This forest park was established in 1982 and encompasses an area of just over 1,600 square miles. We'd arrived at the end of peak season, which meant there were only about 40 Klotoks on the river, which was still quite crowded. Our timing also corresponded with the beginning of monsoon season, and it wasn't long before the rain found us. We had our first spot for the orangutans.
Yes, we're at a feeding station.
Ooh, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, so these orangutans are wild, but I have read about this. They feed them here, but a lot of times the orangutans might not show up because, like, if mangoes are in season, the orangutans would rather eat the mangoes than whatever they're feeding them here.
Something a little better out there.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how it's going.
Yeah, first stop though, that's exciting.
Yeah.
If it would stop raining, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's drizzling.
We'd come up the river to Tanjung Harapan. This is always the first stop on these tours, and they'd constructed an information center to help educate more about the park and the conservation efforts, especially for orangutans. Danu showed us a few of the smaller species we could find in the park, and we heard the name Barut Galdikas for the first time. She's famous for her studies on orangutans, and we'd learn more about her when we got to the Camp Leakey Research Center the next day. But for now, orangutans were waiting. We've seen the information center. We are off to a feeding station, which is where they actually bring some food in for the orangutans, and it's pretty rainy. Kind of embarrassed to admit. We didn't really think about rain because this is the first time we've seen rain in Indonesia. So we forgot raincoats, but they let us borrow an umbrella. Mine's pink. Kinda like it.
there's a big male orangutan up that tree over there. He's actually like, this is the path. So he's up the tree in the path. And so we've got 2 camps of people here. But he's angry, he's making noises. And he like uses the branches to kind of be aggressive and push people away. I think he kind of hurt someone, I'm not really sure. But he's not a happy camper.
No. No. In his backyard, and he's got 50 people looking at him, so
Yeah,
don't
there
blame
are a
him.
lot of people here.
Feeding time now?
Yeah, so they, the rangers came and kind of like corralled him to the feeding station.
Encouraged him to move, huh?
Encouraged him to move. So now he's pouting.
Back to us, like I'm not
Back
looking
to
at you
us.
guys.
But he's eating bananas, so
Life could be worse.
it could be worse.
Male orangutans are characterized by the cheek pads that develop on either side of their faces when they reach maturity, usually around age 20. Fully developed, they can weigh up to 300 pounds, reach a height of 5 feet, and have 8-foot arm spans. I guess he's full, huh?
Yeah,
All
didn't
done.
stay that long.
No. Still bananas up there, I'm kind of surprised.
But you can see the tree he's going up is moving.
It's got a young one then. Got some more that's showing up.
Yeah, so now we have 4 females, and one of them has a baby.
It's a little one.
One of them is really small, too.
Female orangutans weigh less than half what the males do and typically give birth to their first offspring when they're around 15 years old. For the first 2 years of the infant's life, it is completely dependent upon the mother. The infant we saw here was likely less than 4 months old, as it never stopped clinging tightly to its mother's fur. What do you think of the orangutans?
He's good. We saw 6 orangutans.
Including a really little one.
teeny tiny baby.
Yeah, couldn't really figure out how to move its hand.
No hand-eye coordination.
No, not so much.
He's very cute.
Yeah, so that was the first feeding station, and we've got 2 more to go as part of the trip. Yeah.
And hopefully the weather will hold out and we can do some night treks tonight.
That would be really cool. Apparently, there's tarantulas here.
And fireflies.
Excited about the fireflies, tarantulas, not so much. We walked back to our klotok and were quickly reminded that orangutans weren't the only thing of interest in the jungle.
They're like, what are you doing, you crazy humans?
Yeah. If the monkey want to cross the river, they always waiting for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to avoid the
The crocodiles.
crocodile, yeah.
They hop the river
Yeah.
on the boats. On the what are they called again?
Klotok, yeah.
Klotok. That's the boat. Klotok.
That is wild.
Ooh, he's really going.
So the orangutans were just not enough today, huh?
Nope, we get proboscis monkeys as well.
And there's another one up there.
In the macaque monkeys. So 3 kinds of monkey guys.
That's literally the wilderness. Kind of wild. That evening, we went back on shore for our first night trek. It was incredibly hard to film, but it was amazing to see a different side of the jungle come to life than what we'd seen during the day. I was happy no tarantulas came out to greet us, but that doesn't mean there weren't other creepy crawlies to be concerned about. No time to waste this morning, huh?
Mm-mm. To be fair, we were the ones pushing the schedule. We were up early. When we went to bed, they were like, breakfast at 7? We're like, sure. And then we're both up at 6 o'clock. So they said, do you want breakfast? Sure.
Why not, huh?
Yeah. So we had breakfast and the boat got underway and we saw at least a dozen proboscis monkeys while we were eating breakfast, including a mother and a baby. Super adorable. And I just spotted a kingfisher. And yeah, I think we're going to another feeding station this morning.
Yeah, I think so.
9 o'clock feeding?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, here's to another great day.
Yeah.
The early morning meant we were up and moving before most of the other boats. It felt like we had the jungle all to ourselves and was a perfect time to see things from a different angle. For our second feeding station, we'd come into Pondok Tangui. After Danu checked us in, we headed into the jungle, only to stop when Danu spotted something I'd never seen before. What did we just find?
Sometimes there is no hole,
because it's closed up?
close, yeah.
This is a pitcher plant, which is carnivorous.
Tropical.
Tropical carnivorous plant.
You can put your hand.
No.
We are back in the jungle again for our second orangutan feeding station. A little nice jaunt down the river this morning. Just walking literally through the jungle. It's pretty awesome, so lush. Found a carnivorous plant, so that's kind of something I've never ever seen before. Good thing it's small, but it almost ate our guide's fingers, so gotta be careful around those things. Hoping to see some more orangutans, I guess. We just find more of those pitcher plants.
Yeah, there's tons of them. Danny's busy. He's working on my crown, my jungle princess crown.
The orangutans at this stop showed up early, before the rangers arrived with the bananas. The rangers don't bring enough food for an entire day's diet, but just enough for a good snack or to help out for those times of the year when food may be harder to come by. That way, the orangutans can't become reliant on the feedings, and it was apparent at least a few of them still had some things to learn with regards to manners. Ooh, 2 males. I think they both have kind of the cheek things growing. Not fighting. That guy just did a dine and dash, didn't he?
Stuffed his mouth, stuffed his hands, and ran for it. Now we have... You stopped recording? No? Okay. Now we have a mom and a baby.
Aw, your favorite, huh?
They're very cute.
So there's scary, That's just wrong. That's just wrong. You don't have to do it. Somebody know how to clip. You was a Velcro. You know what? I get it. That's just sad. Stay by screen benches.
So we finally found Big Mama Jama. Dominant male out there.
Dominant male, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny watching some of the other ones like be a little skittish, keeping a lookout. And then when this guy came, they ran away.
Danny says this is a wild orangutan. He was never captive.
second orangutan feeding station done. Now we are back to the boat, grab some lunch. I think we go along the river a little bit, and we've got a third one here this afternoon. The third feeding was at Camp Leakey, way in the interior of the park. In order to get there, we turned onto a tributary where the water went from a lovely chocolate milk color to a deep espresso. If I thought I had little desire to go swimming before in these crocodile-infested waters, I definitely had even less now. We are now at the third orangutan station. This one is called Camp Leakey, after the mentor for 3 researchers who went out to explore the world, kind of studying primates and everything. So the orangutans was here. There was one in Africa, and I think one in South America. And yeah, it's really cool to see just kind of the conservation efforts, trying to protect the rainforest here in Indonesia, reintroduce captive orangutans to the wild. So it's really cool to kind of see those efforts and, you know, be here to support that. It kind of makes us feel good. Camp Leakey also had an information center where we got to learn even more about those conservation efforts. The camp is named for Louis Leakey, who inspired 3 women to study great apes in their natural habitat. Jane Goodall studied chimpanzees in Tanzania, Deanne Fossey studied mountain gorillas in Rwanda, and Barut Galdikas, who studied the orangutans here. Dr. Galdikas is hugely responsible for the conservation efforts in Indonesia, advocating for orangutans and the preservation of their rainforest habitat. That habitat is under threat from logging, palm oil plantations, and mining. It's an uphill battle, and orangutans are still classified as critically endangered, but the number of orangutans we saw here is a testament to her work. At this feeding station, they'd brought out something for the orangutans to drink, and it was fascinating to watch them use their hands to pick it up and almost slurp it. The orangutans weren't the only primates who showed up here, as we had a gibbon appear as well.
Red hairs.
The gibbon didn't stay too long though, as the saying, "there's always a bigger fish in the ocean," seems to also apply to the jungle. Unfortunately, we got another one of those afternoon monsoon showers, and pretty soon, even the orangutans were taking cover wherever they could find it. We're back on the boat, huh?
We are back on the boat.
Why is it all closed up?
Because it is pouring rain.
Yeah, that's a true-on rainforest rainstorm.
Yeah, so we had just heard the alpha male coming, and he plops down on the platform, and then it loosens. Rain,
Pouring,
and everybody
pouring.
just runs to their umbrellas and puts their jacket on, and everybody leaves. So
I gotta say something that I find hilarious. Walking behind you, all of a sudden Amy's just walking in some puddles. Just like she's 2 years old again.
There was a point where there was no dry place to walk. So it's like, well, if my feet are gonna get wet, then I might as well just
Screw
go
it,
the whole kit and caboodle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, We're back, we're dry, and it's time for
It's tea.
some tea.
Some hot tea, Indonesian style, which is with sweetened condensed milk.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
I mean, it's sugar and milk basically, so it's delicious.
For our second night, we made our way back out to the main river and over to a small village where they were building a new house over the water. Danu had arranged for one of the locals to take us for another night trek, and this time, we found something amazing. Our local guide tracked down a flat-headed cat and her kitten. This is another endangered species, and it's estimated only 2,500 of these cats exist in the wild. We were all pretty excited, and later when researching what we'd found, we reached out to the International Society for Endangered Cats, who told us that we had very likely captured the only known footage of a small cat kitten in the wild. We're off on another early start to our last day here on our orangutan adventure tour. The orangutan portion of the program has finished. We are slowly making our way back towards Kumai, but we've got one last thing we're going to do, and that is we're going to go plant a tree. So they've got kind of a reforestation effort going on here in the park. So, you know, as part of the tour, maybe a little chitsy or whatever, but it's kind of nice to do a little part, help the environment, plant a tree.
He is Mr. Lidan.
Hi.
Lidan.
Amy.
Amy,
Yes.
Ledan.
Leidan, nice to meet you.
David,
David. Okay.
very nice to meet you.
Okay, Ledan. Yeah.
Lidan told us about the various types of trees native to the local rainforest, and we were allowed to choose our own individual tree for planting.
Ooh, I like this one.
Maybe from England.
Gotta get the name of the tree right, huh? Well, here we go. One tree planted. Have to come back in like 30 years. Hopefully this thing will be a lot taller then.
So what did you plant?
So this is a utan tree, known in English as ironwood. So slow growing, but apparently really strong.
The sign's bigger than the tree.
Tree all planted?
Tree's all planted.
When did you plant?
It's called natu, and it gives off a sweet fruit that humans can eat.
Perfect for you, huh?
Yeah, it's nice. All right. So now back to Kumai, yeah?
Yeah,
All done.
Whew! What a 3 days.
I'm tired of that.
Oh, you're not tired of us.
And here I was gonna say it's been awesome.
Yeah.
We headed back to Kumai, eager to check on Starry Horizons, but sad to say goodbye to the new friends we'd made. Tour is over. We had an awesome time with Danu here, and we had a great phrase. What is it? Awesome guys!
Awesome guys!
Awesome guys! Yeah.
And now we're getting dropped off back on Starry Horizons.
Time
So
to go
sad.
home.
Time to go.
It's time to finish.
Time to finish. Yeah. You're like, I'm done with you guys. Hello everyone, thank you for checking out our video from Kumai in Borneo. No, it's not sailing related, but we had an absolute blast on our river tour. It was such a cool experience to see the orangutans in the rainforest, and also seeing that flat-headed cat and the kitten was pretty magical. Something like I think a handful of people can really say they've done that aren't Indonesian perhaps. And there's a whole lot of information out there on the internet about orangutans, what the troubles they're facing. We're going to put a link down below to Dr. Galdikas's Orangutan Foundation International, which is responsible for the conservation efforts for orangutans. So if you're interested, check that out, and we will see y'all next week. Thanks for watching.